Welcome to episode 2 of the Summer Swing series by the Canadian BAT Bros, the series where we take two brand new softball players and try to teach them how to play softball. Last week, we introduced Chloe and Isuru as our two participants and analyzed their starting softball swings. This week, we start to tweak their swings and take the first steps to making them softball experts. From last week, there were two main topics that we wanted to cover with Chloe and Isuru. The two topics were using more hips to generate more power and adjusting their grip on the bat so that it's easier to extend their wrists and keep the bat on plane during the swing. However, as we started working together, we were able to cover many more additional topics that I hope you'll find interesting. Chloe started showing signs of casting during her swing, which is when you extend arms too early. To remediate this, we covered proper arm mechanics for non-overlap grips and went over the fence drill. During Isuru's swings, we went over proper bat path and then decided to introduce an overlap grip to help work around issues with Isuru's arm extension timing. Feel free to use the chapter timings below if you want to jump to particular topics, but I highly encourage you to watch the whole condensed session and see how the topics naturally evolved and the evolution of swings from beginning to end for both of our participants.
But one of the first things I mentioned to you guys was grip. So you guys both have a tendency to hold it like this, maybe even a bit more inverted. Let me do this without my... So you guys have a tendency to hold it like this, right? The hard part with this is when you try to extend, you can feel it. So do it now. You can feel your wrists fight each other. Yeah. And at some point you have to roll over to complete the swing, right? So the two things that I recommend for grip are, one, you turn this like this. So these door knuckles align. So give that a try and then try to extend. You'll see that you can go further, right? Yeah? Yes? No? Right? Oh, you tell me. What does it feel like? Yeah. So do it even more where there's like a ridge, like a thing of a mountain line, and they form like a, yeah. And then from here, just try to extend and then go back to the old grip and then try to extend. You should feel more freedom in your wrists. Yeah. And then the second part of that is a lot of people will hold the bat in their palm. So you guys did this. Ideally, you want to hold it a bit more towards the fingertips, and you'd actually hold the bat more like this. So you can see there's a little more gap. For you, it'll be harder because you have smaller hands. Isuru should be able to do this a little bit. And then the top hand also, instead of like this in the palm, you hold it more like this in the fingers. Right? And so then with both of the top hand and bottom hand like that, now you can really extend. And then when you get to your point where you got to roll over, you can stay on plane and finish your swing. Okay? So that you just did like that. So I don't know if you saw your swing. You had a tendency with your bat pass, you kind of get here, and then at your point, you'd have to roll over and it'd go off plane, right? So ideally you want a flat, I don't know if you remember your 3D math, but a flat plane for your swing point, right? So that's the first thing you're gonna do that we're gonna try to do today. So what I want instead is that you preload the hips by coiling. So I'm gonna ask you guys to start in a neutral stance, feet about shoulder width apart. You're going to think about showing your butt to the pitcher, or you think about bringing your knee towards the catcher, but I want you to turn your hips backwards. Turn your hips backwards like this, a little bit. In the end, in game, you're only going to go a few degrees, but in BP, especially off the tee, why don't you get comfortable being here and being comfortable in this loaded position? So here, where most of your weight's on your back foot, of course, because the other one's in the air, and your hamstring is loaded and ready to like push forward kind of thing, right? That's not the motion you're going to do, but that's what the kind of loading I want. And then, so you get here, you decide it's a pitch you're going to swing at, and then you're going to rotate your hips all the way around through contact. Okay? So you can think about it, if the ball was here and your bat was attached to your hip, you'd load and then you'd rotate all the way through so that you hit the ball with the bat. What I'm looking for when you're doing this well is that when you make contact, there's a point of weightlessness on your back foot. So the really extreme weight shifters will actually have the foot all the way off the ground, like a few inches off the ground. Some people might have like just floating or just like the toe touching, but there's no weight there. But I'm looking for you guys to be here loaded and then here finish, okay? But if I was you guys, I'll start like this. I'm gonna load, and then I'm going to rotate. So for you guys, I'm gonna exaggerate rotation as much as I can. And you'll probably see me twirl a little extra, but that's what I'm looking for you guys today, okay? So here we go. Okay, it's good. You got to your loaded position, and then you kind of went, and you went slowly. I want every bit of athleticism you have to go here and push off and rotate. I want you to channel it in the swing, okay? And just let the bat be an extension of your arm, not the main thing. Not let your arms be the primary mover. Good. Good. So a lot of what, when people pull too hard and they don't have good control, a lot of it is because they extend too early. Okay. So I have to look at your video because it's not something I checked for. But most likely you're making contact with your arms like this, when the ideal scenario is you keep your hands in a bit longer and you make contact like this. So good. So okay. Good. That was like a bit of a load. I'm looking for more load. So I don't need a lot of ground covered from your foot, but I do need the hip to rotate. So it could be like this with a slight knee bend so that your foot doesn't go far. But yeah, I need the hips to go. And then from this position, I want you to explode as fast as you can. Don't think about your arms anymore. I only want hips exploding and arms loose, okay? Good. You'll see in the video, you have this thing where you get loaded and then your hands go out. I want you to think about, you load, your hands stay in. This is especially important because you don't overlap, and I probably won't ask you to. For you, you need to get used to load, hands in, and then you extend out like that, okay? Good. That's okay. Good. That was a mush ball. Good. Nice. Good shot. When you overlap, you naturally have a wider arc, and that's intentional because the whole point of dropping a finger and overlapping is you make the bat longer. So your longer lever means the contact point moves faster. For the people who don't overlap and you're going to take a traditional grip like that, outside of positioning your hands, so that the door knocking knuckles lined up so that you can extend, is when you extend in your swing. So what a lot of people do when you hear the term casting is because they extend early and they make contact like this, and they tend to hook balls, which is what you're doing in your first round. What the fence drill tries to force you to do is, if I cast, so if I stand here and I cast, I'm gonna hit the fence. If I keep my hands in and extend after, I won't. So what you do is, I think people do a bat length away or something, and then they take full speed swings, trying to not hit the fence. So look like this, here, sorry, a long follow through. So do you see, you'll see in the video when you look it back, your left arm was already extended at this point. I'm looking, okay, I will remember to stand farther. Good. Set up the good. So I normally stand like this, right? And this will take me a ball kind of like there. I do my wind up, stride, contact. But if I needed to, I could hit a ball this close and take it to center. Maybe this is a bit extreme. So if I needed to, I'm gonna go conventional grip. You're gonna see me load, keep my hands in, and then try to make contact like this, okay? So here. The adjustment I make is that when I fire, I keep my hands in and then I extend through at the end, right? So I want you, it's good. You like, good. Good. It's good. Good. Actually, that is good contact. That was 20% bat speed, but that was good contact. So take one more, full bat speed, and try to keep the hands in. Position yourself wherever you think you should be. Nice shot. Good. Good. Nice shot. So you'll do 5 and then you'll switch. Okay? So one thing, from your shoulder to your upper arm, lower arm bat, they should all be in line the whole way. You have a tendency to get here, I assume it's from cricket, you get here, you make contact, and you finish like that, right? I want you to get to a place where when you load, this is all one line, you swing, all one line, follow through, finish, all one line, okay? And then obviously you keep hitting the end cap. I want you to try to hit the bat or the ball with this part of the bat. So right now you're hitting here. The sweet spot's here. I want you to overcorrect and sort of try to hit here, okay? Rotation, okay? Good. Back. Over there. I want you to take a swing as fast as you can. And let's just see what that looks like for you. Okay, so I want you to think about the same swing. Don't go outside, I want to hurt yourself. But when you let your hip go through with the ball. Because right now you're here and you do a good job generating with your torso, but you don't, your hip gets here and then it stops. I'm looking for your hip to go and continue through contact. No, so dry swing, don't hit the ball. So you're gonna look at this video and it's gonna look exactly the same, those two swings. Yeah. So to illustrate, you get here, you do a really good job loading, but then you finish like this, right? I'm looking for this thigh. So I say hip, now I'm gonna go thigh. Looking for you to load, and this thigh to be side by side with your other thigh. And that's how I know you're in full hip extension. Okay. Good, better. Good. Better, there you go. Hey, that's a, there you go. Good. So on the next few, so everything is looking better, especially with the hip. I want you to now try to really plant with, I should get over here. So when you load, I want you to really try to plant with that left foot and let it be, think about it being the thing that you anchor around. Okay. And then you try to finish here and then try to recover like you have to run to first base after. Okay, so don't be out of... Yes, but try to keep, the bat speed is number 1. Okay. Good. Good, that was more. Good. Isuru is going to try to drop his first finger, meaning instead of here, with the fingers are all touching the bat, his pinky will go over his left index. Right pinky over left index. And all... Nice shot. Nice shot. Good. Good. Whereas I want you to, when I say you take a neutral stance in the box, I also mean your posture. So I want you to be standing up straight, you rotate, you only want to hinge at your hips when you identify, oh, it's low pitch and I have to go. If you already start hunched over, you can't rotate as much as you can. I'm sure you can feel it. Good. Good. There you go. That's a legit shot. All right, Chloe.
That's the end of the swings. Now let's get into our final observations from the session. Chloe's swing was looking much more compact as Chloe was no longer casting. This results in more bat speed through contact, but also as Chloe learned how to intentionally pick contact points for different pitches in the future, the compact swing will afford Chloe the ability to hit oppo more easily. By the end of the session, Isuru was getting a lot more hip engagement and power generation. The swing looked a bit awkward in the middle with Isuru spinning around after contact, but after we introduced the concept of anchoring on the lead leg, the swing looked much more controlled and powerful. Also, with Isuru now overlapping one finger, the wrists are able to work together more freely during the swing, and the overlap grip will help to raise the ceiling of potential bat speed that Isuru can achieve. Next week I plan to reinforce proper posture and standing tall in the batter's box. Both Isuru and Chloe had a strong tendency to hip hinge during the load, and that is a restriction I want to eliminate early. Additionally, I plan to introduce the proper way to adjust your swing plane using a hip hinge, while also introducing the concept of different contact points for inside and outside pitches. And that's it for the second episode of the Summer Swing series. Let us know in the comments which parts of the video you found helpful, or if there are any improvements that we can make. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Summer Swing series.